What's up, guys? This is the introduction video to Nick Walker's prep series. I wanted to basically give you guys full access, give you guys a blueprint to this prep over the next 20 weeks. And I'm going to be working and updating in real time. So I just made changes to his plan last night. Every time I make changes to his plan, or my goal is to, as closely as I can within making changes to his plan, get a video out for you guys. So that way you guys know the next step, know the decision-making process on my end, the reason why I made the changes that I made, how I went about them in terms of my decision-making process. And then, you guys can obviously continue to follow Nick in terms of his progress pictures, in terms of, his insight, his mental approach, all that's involved on that side. And then we're just gonna work together as a unit to bring you guys as much coverage of this prep as we can. And hopefully, not that you are Nick or that I'm Nick, but you guys can look at the bigger picture of the variables that we're talking about and then apply them to your own prep, all right? So my thought process with Nick, and honestly with a lot of my athletes, the more time that you have to prep, the better, okay? So we planned initially to start this prep 20 weeks out the whole entire time. Even with the situation that's going right now, obviously in the world, here in the US, we continued with our initial plan of prepping at 20 weeks out. So we started today. And the reason for this is I like to take my prep slow and methodically. And also it allows us to, if we have any speed bumps, if we have any issues on the way, for those not to really set us back or derail us. So one thing that's on my mind right now that's present is, okay, there might be a potential lockdown that happens in the tri-state area over the next week. We don't know. The president is doing everything he can to not allow that, but yet at the same time, with the rate at which the coronavirus up there is spreading, that might be a possibility. So again, even though we started prep, that might be something that might be a hurdle. But again, since we're starting early, I think that's a hurdle that we can handle. As of right now, Nick has full access to a gym. He has full access to be able to train on his own apart from anybody else. And we're utilizing that. So that's why we, took the go ahead and started this prep. So I want to get into the variables of this prep, how I approached it, and the reasons why I did what I did. So initially, Nick is training. We actually, I want to take a step back. Last week, Nick updated me, and I noticed a change in his physique. I noticed that he had more roundness than typically what I'm used to seeing. His body looked fresher, so I immediately attribute it to some extra rest due to the restrictions that have been put in place in the New Jersey area. And I just asked him, I said, okay, so within what I know about the coronavirus, how many days have you actually been able to train? And he said over the past week, basically for the past 2 weeks, he had trained 4 days a week. And I said, honestly, the feedback that your body's giving us right now, I don't think we need to neglect that. I think we need to carry this out and just continue to train 4 days a week. And we also have previous experience of training 4 days a week. Nick, if you guys remember, trained 4 days a week coming out of his USA prep this year and had tremendous results. So I said, look, we have 2 case studies, basically on you of the benefits of training 4 days a week. So let's utilize that and let's go off that for the start of this prep. So that's what we did. So he is currently training 4 days a week. He's training legs, training chest and biceps, training back, and then training shoulders and triceps. Okay, so that's his workout split right now. And then if you guys want to call it a carb cycle, it basically is somewhat of a carb cycle approach that we're using. So he has 2 high days a week, which are going to be on the body parts that we want to emphasize the most during this prep, which are his legs and his back. He has 2 moderate days a week, which are going to be his chest and shoulder training day, and then the arm, bicep, tricep muscle group. And then he has 3 off days a week, which is going to be a different set of nutrition. So I'm not going to lay out every single change that I made because I want to give you guys access to his diet. So that way you can just look over it, yourself as you're following through with this series, because if I just told you everything as you're listening to me, it's going to easily get lost. So rather than that, I want you guys to watch this video, then you can scroll down, you can actually view his nutrition, view what I did there, and then kind of continue to have this thought process in yourself of how and why I'm making the changes that I make as we go through this process. So to give you guys some insight into the initial changes, just not so much in terms of exact details, his current high days are what we finished his off-season diet on. So I made no changes to his high days on his off-season. On his moderate days, you guys can see for yourself, I basically pulled carbs down slightly, maybe about 20 to 30 grams per meal. We do have intra-workout nutrition on his high days as well as his moderate days. It's anywhere from 75 to 50 grams, I believe, right now, depending on the day. And then on his off days, the main changes that I made were to, I believe at this point, meal one, his intra-workout nutrition, and then just slight changes throughout, but not really drastic changes from his moderate day to his off day, because we are far out from the contest, okay? So my thought process and my approach to this is to get the most out of the least. Let's run this plan for 7 to 10 days, see what happens, and then we'll make changes from there. So the other variable that I made some changes to right off the bat were his cardio. So his cardio on his high days remains the same, which is at 25 minutes, which was basically his baseline for the off season. On his moderate days, I believe it's at 30 to 35 minutes. And then his off day from training is at 40 minutes. And that's where we started the cardio at for this. Other thing I want to address is the compounds within his plan. I do not believe in telling you guys, the information of what Nick is taking is between Nick and myself, and that's it, all right? That being said, I don't want to leave out that variable or that piece of the puzzle in terms of, not addressing it at all. So what I'm going to say is basically initially off the bat, what he was using and utilizing during his last phase of the off season is going to continue to be what he utilizes during his first phase of his contest prep. I made no changes there. I will indicate when I make changes so that way you guys can be aware, of what's going on and looking at every piece of the puzzle within his prep, because for me, the pieces of the puzzle are obviously training, cardio, diet, fat burners, and then anabolics, okay? So I will let you guys know when I make changes to any of those phases of his plan and just be fully involved with you. Again, as far as specific numbers, I'm not gonna do that because that's between Nick and I, and not that they're astronomical, but that's just information that I don't think everyone needs to know right now, nor from a legality standpoint is it something that I feel comfortable talking about within the United States, all right? So that's that. That's his plan from now. As I said, guys, I initially plan to roll this out for at least the next week to 10 days, and then we'll make some further changes from there. I'll see how this initial pull, so basically, as of right now, he went from having his high day diet 7 days a week to now, or his finishing off day diet was 7 days a week. That's now structured into 2 high days, so that diet has not changed, but then he's gonna have a reduction of calories 5 days a week. So his current calorie content or intake that he had before prep started has now been reduced from 7 days a week to 2 days a week. He now has a reduction of calories the other 5 days a week, and then he has an increase in output of energy on 5 of those days. So we'll see how these changes play out, and I'll continue to update you through the process. As I said, I'm going to lay out the plan below so that way you guys can go through it, and we will go from there. All right, so I'm looking forward to this series. This prep, it means a lot to me. I know it means a lot to Nick, and that's why it means so much to me. We finished short of our goal last year, and that's been something that's been on the forefront of my mind ever since. I want to see Nick follow through with this goal that he has for himself and the vision that we have for him as a team. I do believe that he is a professional bodybuilder that's been yet to be given a card, but it's up to us to attain that card and the right to call himself a professional. So that's what this prep's going to be about. Hope you guys enjoy following along as a fan of Nick, as a fan of bodybuilding, and I hope you guys also enjoy following along, because I am going to be giving you a lot of information that you can apply to your own situation and your own prep, regardless of your body weight, regardless of how much muscle you have. And that's why I'm excited about this series, because it's going to transcend far beyond just Nick into a great educational opportunity for you guys to listen to and follow along from. All right. So hope you guys are doing well. I'll be back with another video the next time I make a change to Nick's diet, and we'll go from there. All right. Thank you.